What's up, Terra Squad? It's Solar. Hope you're having a sunny day today. I'm excited because you guys voted for this topic, and I really appreciate that for all two of you that engaged with the polls that I put up on the channel. So yeah, we're talking about just kind of how to strengthen or like fine tune your spiritual gifts and what that looks like. And this is more of like an introductory or maybe refresher course for like newbies or people who are fine tuning their gifts. And y'all already know I'll be looking down because I have notes, and I'll be looking around because I have dirty eyes. Let's just get that out the way for the newbies that are here on the channel. Hi. But yeah, so in my personal opinion, let's just get into it. I feel like everybody minimally has the clairs, right? Because if you're feeling things in the 3D, right? You know, with your hands, or you're smelling, you're tasting, you can see, you can hear, right? That's happening on the spirit plane. Again, that whole axiom of as above, so below, as within, so without. So why the fuck wouldn't it be existing there? So, and then also funny, I haven't done too much research on this, but I've found that like people that actually lack like one of the senses, like just on this plane, it's usually like exalted in the spirit world. So that's something. But that's neither here nor there. I do want to mention though that when it comes to your spiritual gifts, I feel like it is very much so determined by your genetic makeup or like DNA. It could be your ancestors making spirit pacts with spirits. That's actually happened to me. One of my ancestors, and they're not like, what do you call them? I forgot how I end up even getting this ancestor because they're not like directly like bloodline related. It was through the spirit pack. Anyway, that's a story for another time. But yeah, so things like that can happen. Your own spirit pack, which I don't recommend if you're a newbie or, you know, whatever, because like we're going to get into it. It really just goes to like boundaries. And I find that a lot of newbies just lack boundaries, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so your spiritual gifts, I want to mention too, because I feel like this is a newbie thing, and it was for me as well. So I'm not judging or anything like that. But I feel like a lot of us, like when we're in that new stage, we get in that trap of just wanting to have spiritual gifts because it just sounds cool. I mean, who doesn't want to be a fucking superhero? You know what I mean? Like, it's really dope. It's a nice feeling. You feel powerful. You feel like, you know, like you're on the right track. Like it's a reward essentially for the hard work that you put in. So gold star for you, friend. But getting so obsessed and like wrapped up into it will fucking cause psychosis. And then two, I want to mention like having spiritual gifts is not special. What? No, it's not. Again, because everyone has them. So if everyone has it, is it special? I don't think so. What's special about your spiritual gifts is the way that it manifests for you and the way that you interact with it in your day to day. That's what makes spiritual gifts special. Also, people that have a lot of spiritual gifts doesn't necessarily make them more of a powerful being. At the end of the day, we're all still human. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. Like, I know that it's not too prevalent now, but at least when I was starting my journey, like watching certain people, like it was very much so like they tried to have like this spiritual hierarchy with like their followers and stuff. And I'm just like, bitch, you're still a human though. Like if you were this like all knowing, all powerful being, you wouldn't be on this plane. Like we all came down here to experience the same type of duality. How that shows up for us and how we interact with that is different, but don't be over here trying to like con people like you're some freaking Jesus figure or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like that personally. I don't think it's ethical. But yeah, so and having said that, when especially when you're on your like in your newbie stage, right? Because you have so much ashe, so much like of that like pure energy. It's very yummy and delicious, and people will take advantage of that. So I just wanted to put that out there. And also when you're in that state and you're constantly like pocket watching other people's spiritual gifts, you're literally drawing like the energy away from your own, right? You're literally like working backwards. Because a lot of times, like even like the gifts that we could find like cute and like, oh, I want that, probably isn't even like connected to your purpose. You know what I'm saying? So finding out that through your inner work journey, through your shadow work journey, is how you can help your spiritual gifts kind of manifest for you. And I wanted to mention too, like how I said, like the gifts are going to be different in everybody, because like we can even look at clairvoyance, right? So being able to see. Some people can only see the future. Some people can only see the past. Some people can only see the future in relation to like people that they know. Some people can only see the future in relation to people that they don't know, and they can't see anything regarding their family or friends, loved ones, whatever. I've seen that with tarot readers. I know, like my Reiki healer, like the girl I go to get Reiki healed, like she can't read for her family and friends, right? Like, but for me, the second that a friend is like, okay, look, I need advice, or like I need you to read me, everything comes. Like I'm talking about like just instantly. I'm just like, oh yeah, your granddad's in right there, and da 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 wants me to tell you. Da, da, da. It's like once they like give me that okay, it's already, that's my strongest like shit, obviously working with family and friends, but that is a trap in itself too. We're gonna get into that. Because a lot of us, when we are trying to manifest our spiritual gifts or whatever, especially when it comes to what was it, claircognizant and clairsentience, a lot of it is projection if we haven't taken care of our inner work, right? So what was I about to say? Hold on, I'm looking. I don't know why I just like, I write my notes so I can read them during the video, but then I write so like in chicken scratch. So it's just counterproductive for everybody here. But yeah, so what happens is, so when you go through trauma, right? Your body keeps the score. You legit become more sensitive to kind of understand the signs, symptoms, and warnings of when like that danger is coming back, right? So you do get a sense of clairsentience or claircognizance, right? But it's not in the way that like it's not coming from divine source, right? It's coming from, again, your ego space a little bit. It's coming from your programming. It's coming from, you know, like the people that are all like, oh, I just feel everything. I'm such an empath. And it's like, no, you fucking lack boundaries and you lack your inner work. I'm sorry. You lack inner knowing about yourself because your energy is so focused on the people around you and possibly keeping the peace for the people around you or whatever. Like your body is literally doing everything to like make sure that you don't go through that same trauma again. So it's going to, again, like expose that kind of energy for other people. And that's why it can kind of be like a cross-wiring, right? So again, it'll be like your own projection out into like while you're out here thinking that you're like just this divine reader, and it's like, no, like you're just kind of replaying the same scenarios in your head, but telling other people that that's what they're going through when it's just you. Sorry. But your spiritual gifts are only as strong as your consciousness, right? And I'm not talking about your knowledge, right? Because a lot of us, like, we go through that spiritual crackhead phase where we watch a lot of content, we read a lot of books, we acquire a lot of knowledge, but we don't have any wisdom. We haven't elevated our consciousness or our nervous system to even like retain the shit that we've been learning, right? So you're just out here sophomoric as fuck. You're just a wise idiot. For what reason? Yeah. So if your consciousness doesn't elevate, like what you think is a gift, again, it's just your projection. But anyway, so before activating your gifts, and this is why I say that shadow work or inner work is just very imperative, because your gifts are highly dictated, or your spiritual progression in general is highly dictated by your mental stability and your nervous system, okay? Obviously your mental stability, because if you are not grounded in like what you're seeing, like what's that, gosh, I forgot who I was watching, but it's a common thing. A lot of spiritualists go through getting, what's the word? Like you'll get like, do like a stint in a psych ward or something. No shade. Like, no, life is crazy enough. But I'm just saying, this is things that can happen if you haven't like mentally prepared for receiving your gifts. Especially, a lot of us have a lot of power. So when we start reclaiming our gifts and we haven't done anything again to elevate our consciousness or to kind of like tell our nervous system to like, hey, catch up to seeing weird shit, because you know, that's just what it is, then like it'll literally cause your brain to split. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta watch out for that. I'm not joking when I say that. Like, I've seen it happen. And also, like, when you're doing spiritual work and like, let's say you're like, not necessarily conjuring or like calling on a spirit, right? they won't necessarily want to stick around if you're just so in the low stage of your like root chakra, or in the low like vibrational part of your root chakra, right? So if you're living in that fear of like what you might see or how it might manifest or what you might hear, or like certain smells, things like that, like why would they come around? Like you're literally not a proper vessel at that point, right? And I say that from personal experience. Like I was trying to work with a certain deity, and they came through and I wasn't ready for it, and I spazzed the fuck out, and they promptly left. They were just not having it. Like at one point, because I was trying to do this over like a course of a week, right? And I didn't change my consciousness at all while I was doing this process. So I was just kind of like, I was literally living in my own insanity, because, you know, you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Like that's literally the definition of being crazy. So, so while I'm doing this and I'm trying to like channel the spirit and da da da, and I feel it kind of like coming down like to mount, and then all I hear is ew, and it just went away. I'm not joking. I'm not joking, and I deserve that. I'm like, because I was not ready. Let's see. And then also because like when I mentioned like the root chakra, right? Because that is like the thing that grounds you here. There's, you know, the high side of your root chakra, there's the low side. There's highs and lows for everything. We live in duality for a reason. But your crown chakra obviously is your connection to the spirit world, right? The crown and the root are inverse of each other. So if one is unstable, what makes you think that this one is going to be perfectly fine? Make it make sense. So yeah. And then I want to say too, like one of the reasons why you're probably, you know, you might have a few years on your spiritual journey. Like I know I've had a client reach out to me, and they were like 10 years deep in their spiritual journey, and they were saying that their spiritual gifts have yet to show themselves. But the more I talked to this person, and I realized like, well, baby, you haven't done any type of inner work. Like you're talking about you've been 10 years in the game, but I'm still getting like old childhood trauma. Like I can smell it on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, because no one is, no situation ever is going to be perfect. But it's the fact of like the effort that you're making to get back into your light body. When just living is trauma, right? When we go through life and we're growing up and, you know, things happen, it starts weighing heavy on our aura, on our spirit. So when we do the inner work, we're literally, again, that's why I say the light body, we're lightening that up. Like we're getting our glow back, our spark. So that's why you have to do the inner work. You can't just have gifts and no spark. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like attracts like. So yeah. So that's one of the reasons why that happens. Like, and then also like take inventory of what's going on in your life. Right? Because if your whole life is on fire, you're not about to just be over here talking to the dead, like you're talking to like your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like get that shit together. And that kind of goes back into your root chakra as well, right? So I don't want to hear you asking about how to talk about, well, how to manifest your spiritual gifts if, you know, you're unemployed and you're like 40 and you're living in your mom's basement, and you like just got evicted from like your place like 2 weeks ago, and you got 3 kids with 4 different baby mamas. Like it's just not, or baby daddies. It's equal opportunity fuck shit. So like if you're on fuck shit, like you're not about to have your spiritual gifts for real. Just generally speaking, I know like there's always exceptions to the rule, but just from what I've seen, the general consensus is that no. So then we have to talk about spiritual boundaries, right? And this goes back to your inner work. A lot of us newbies coming on the path lack spiritual boundaries because we lack boundaries in our day-to-day life. Think about all the ways that your boundaries manifest in your like 3D world, right? If you told yourself that you were going to start waking up at 6 a.m. to go work out, but you haven't done that and you've been talking about it for a month, that's a weak boundary, right? If you're like, if you tell your friends that you can't hang out on the weekend because you got X, Y, and Z to do, but then you end up going out anyway, that is a weak boundary, right? Letting that same person cheat on you and you taking them back, weak boundary. So again, and then you being that newbie, like when you first activate, right? Again, you have a light around you, and it's yummy for a lot of like predatory type people and predatory type spirits, right? So you could whole ass just be like trying to make a spiritual contract, right? And because you lack the boundaries, what do you think is going to happen? I genuinely want you to like let me know in the comments. What do you think would happen if you tried to make a spiritual contract and you lack boundaries? Okay. Best answer gets a gold star. So and also my bad, because what even is a spiritual contract, right? So I actually made this a few years ago, and I thought that it was just kind of weird because like I just was on my path doing shit, and I was just like, this just kind of makes sense. But I got the confirmation when I started watching Mystic Rain here on YouTube. You guys should definitely check her stuff out. I love her channel. She's amazing. But she talks about spiritual contracts. She has a few videos about them. And it's essentially just like, again, your spiritual boundaries for how you want your gifts to even manifest. So if you know that in your bloodline, you've had clairvoyance, right? How do you want that to manifest? Because here's my thing. I used to see shit from like the corner of my eye. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So for me, it was like, I just needed like a warning sign anytime like spirit was around, right? So I would, you know, ask for certain like things to kind of happen, like, or even like getting mounted, right? For a minute, it used to freak me out because sometimes, you know, if I'm just in meditation and I just start like my body starts tuning and then I'm started speaking tongues and all this other stuff, it took me a while to really even like pinpoint like, okay, well, what, like who is talking? You know, like I'm like, did I just call on something? Is it my higher self? Is it this? Is it that? Da, 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 da. So one thing that I wanted and that I put in my contract, I was just like, Spirit, if you're gonna come down and mount me, I need clarity on who the fuck it is. And you know, I don't want to just like because before it'll just be like I see it and then it's just like kind of jumps at me and like I don't know, kind of like jumps in my body. I'm like, I don't really, that doesn't really serve me. So now I'm just like, can you just like give me a little tap on the head? Be like, knock, knock, anyone home? Like, let me get in there. Like, and so that's kind of like how we do things. And then, what else was it? Oh yeah. Because of like I mentioned, like your nervous system has a lot to do with like, retaining like your spiritual ashe. You can always ask for a grace period because that's what I put in my contract as well. When I was first starting out, I was just like, look, I know that I have to work on not being so fearful, but right now my nerves are shot to shit because of all of the shit that I had to deal with in my life that I was working out at the time, right? And so I was just like, look, can you just give me a 2-minute grace period to like, if I can't calm myself down within 2 minutes, then by all means go cuss me out, tell me how I'm just a low level ass human, like do what you got to do, but give me that time to like actually like sit there and sit with my nerve and activate my nervous system and be like, look, this is what's normal now. Like, you know, because a month ago, it was not normal for me to go down into my friend's basement and see a large like 10-foot bat just like waiting for me down there because I was doing Saturn rituals and it was giving me a sign. I was not prepared for that. So I had to sit there and just look at it and just really be like, okay, what is the message that, you know, this is, you know, coming to me for? And, you know, after a while, obviously, because you're training your nervous system, it'll catch up and everything will be great. And, you know, you end up seeing more crazy shit. Yay. All right. So let's say that you've matured, you've done your inner work, you do shadow work on a consistent basis, right? You do your like self-scans on a regular basis. You have full control and autonomy of your own energy, and you can differentiate that from the other like things that are happening around you, right? Kudos to you, great job, gold star. What's next? So, how do you manifest, or like things that you can do to help draw those gifts out? For one, pray. I always, especially now, Age of Aquarius, we're in that air type energy. Look, anything that you can just speak out, do it. It is so much more like just oomph. I don't know what it is. Like this, I realized, when was that? I forgot, but it was pretty recent. And I was just like, lately, just like the speaking spells have just been popping the fuck off. So I definitely encourage prayer. And a lot of us, like when it comes to our spiritual gifts, a lot of us have either prayed them away or had family members pray them away. And usually it's no fault of their own because it was out of protection, right? And then it was also kind of like how I mentioned, like that mental stability. Think about, I hate to like use this example because I feel like I talk about myself like too much, and that's not necessarily what you guys are here for. But like my grandma, she was born with the veil on her eyes, right? So she saw a lot of shit. She had quite a few stints in the psych ward because of the things that she would see, right? Obviously, think about being in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s as a Black woman, right? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, obviously, yeah, I would have prayed that shit away too, because this is not serving like my 3D world, right? Because there's nothing that's set up, like literally, like everything's stacked against me. So like, why would I want to, you know, be fucking with this? And I got to worry about feeding 9 kids at home. Yeah, duh. So, and then even like my oldest sister, she was telling me how she's recently been seeing a few more things because she's been praying for the insight back. But she prayed her shit away when she was a kid. Like she literally would be like, God, just take it away. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see. So yeah, that happens a lot. So yeah, praying and just declaring that those gifts are your birthright and stand in that power. You can't just be like, oh yeah, this is my birthright, and then just be fearful. Like you cannot exist in both of those places at the same time. Like you have to make an active decision to like be brave about this type of shit. Which brings me to my next point. Planetary magic helps a lot with activating your spiritual gifts. I first want to talk about the powers of Mars for your courage and for your discernment and just general strength of your intuition. So again, praying to that energy or any of the Martian like deities or whatever spirits can help with that. Jupiter literally holds your blessings and your spiritual like know-how, right? So doing that, again, engaging with that energy will help draw those out. And what do I mean by engaging with that energy? So like it literally can be as mundane or as magical as it needs to be, right? So for me, when I was doing, like how I mentioned, my Saturn ritual, all I was doing was listening to Saturn frequency music every day. And then every Saturday I was doing the Om Shani chant, right? So the Saturn chant. And I was doing that for, honestly, I was doing it just to like have better discipline. Especially regarding like my spiritual path. Because I just, at the time, it was just very like, I'd have these high highs, low lows, and it, like, I don't mind the cycle anymore, but like the way that the shit was before, it was just too much like a roller coaster ride. And I was like, look, something gotta give, and I know it was me. Anyway, so, but Saturn will help with, well, for one, Saturn unlocks your karma, right? So sometimes our spiritual blessings or gifts can be blocked by like some karmic shit that we've done in a past life. Because if you're a spiritualist now, you had some type of spiritual past life. Probably not all of them, but at least one. And sometimes we do fuck shit. It happens. So sometimes Saturn and the karma of it all locks that shit down so we don't do it again. And we have to work backwards and work for that thing again that we already got blessed with before. But because we abused it, Saturn was like, nah, bitch, like you have a lesson to learn. So yeah, so Saturn also will, let's say that you are like clairvoyant, right? Saturn holds the Akashic records. It is the great timekeeper. So you having like a very disciplined practice with Saturn, and you're like just very diligent, they like Saturn spirits will reveal the Akashic records. Like it just happens. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why because I just explained it, but it just, look, these energies are here because they want you to fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so by all means, like, I mean, do it in a smart way or not. I haven't done a lot of smart things on my path. I don't know. Like, it's like in retrospect they were, because like a lot of your practice should just be you being a freaking mad scientist and experimenting. So when I say it was like, oh, this was a stupid choice, like in the moment, like looking back, and I'm just like, oh, I should have probably done this in a more ritualistic way, or like I should have done this in a more like what's the word I'm looking for? you know, like there's just an order of operation. And a lot of times I just did things out of that order when I first started my journey. Like I never, I already started fucking with the elements before I learned that you have to present yourself to the elements before you like fuck with them, or any energy really. So that was, I had to course correct myself on that, and I had to, you know, do my penance. Well, when I say penance, I was just, you know, praying, and I was just like, hey, sorry for not doing the intro, but my name is this, and we're just gonna have a lovely relationship. Thank you. Like, but yeah, so, yeah, again, rituals for planetary magic can be as simple or as complicated as it needs to be. So if you want to do a Saturn ritual and you have, you know, your black altar cloth and a black candle, and you're carving the sigil of Saturn into that candle, and you're just looking into it, and you did it, by all means, I'll chant while I'm taking a shit. It don't matter to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know some people hear that and be like, sacrilege. I don't care. I'm gonna get my gettings while the getting's good. If I'm on the toilet and spirit's just like, hey, you know, you didn't meditate today, you should probably do that. In the name of Belgafor, bitch. All right, so, anyway, also I want to say, like, playing games and doing sacrifices, and I'm not talking about sacrificing a baby goat or like your, you know, your shitty coworker. I'm just talking about sacrificing your time, sacrificing like, okay, like if you want to have the, what's that, clairgustance, I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but the clair tasting, right? Why don't you fast? Try fasting with the intent and the prayer of, hey, I'm doing this to engage in making this sense more sensitive. See what happens, right? Also, clairvoyance, right? Close your eyes and try to find things. Have a friend hide things and you try to find them, right? Like, just look in your mind's eye, right? Take a scan of like the room that you're in, right? Close your eyes real fast and see if you can remember where everything is in the exact same place. Can you see it like how you can see it like normally? That's a good way to kind of enhance that. Also, like, one of the games that we played when I did this intuition strengthening class with the channel is Connecting with Guides and Goals by Adenola. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm so sorry, Queen. Like, she's amazing. I've done a few of her courses. Like, she is friggin' awesome. She's so legit, so lovely. Like, you know, like some people just legit have like that goddess, like queen energy, like mother energy. Like, that's literally her. Like, she is a whole vibe. Like, ugh. Anyway, so fangirl moment over. I apologize. But yeah, so we did this intuition strengthening game where she had like an object that, and obviously this was like on Zoom or whatever, but she had like an object in her hand and we had to guess what it was, right? Doing things like that will help a lot. Also, just the intuition strengthening game of like, you can pick a friend. This friend could also be like on their spiritual path, right? Think about like, let's say, okay, we're gonna do fruit today, right? I'm gonna need your friend to think of a fruit and you try to see what the fuck it is that they're thinking about. That's how you activate that, right? If you want to be like, communicate telepathically, you think that's cool, try doing it. Like, have you actually actively tried to do it? Like, it's gonna feel silly at first, but it is, I'm just saying, because like when you engage in it like that, you're literally taking like the, what's the word? Like you're like making it a thing. Like you're actively like taking charge of the manifestation. It's like playing pretend. Like, we don't play pretend, right? We don't have daydreams. We like, that's literally the work that gets done, right? If you're on this path, if you know, you know. I'm sorry, my words are a little convoluted right now. It's late and I've been working all day, so just bear with me. We're almost done. But yeah, I think we are done. Sorry. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. But yeah, so let me know if you guys try any of these things out, or if you need more tips or tricks. I was trying to keep this short. I don't know why or how this ended up being a 30-minute video yet again, but here we are. Yeah, and I also want to know if there's anything that you guys do personally to help strengthen your gifts or activate them. When did they activate? Where's the craziest story about your spiritual gifts randomly activating? Like, that's what I want to know. And I can also make a video about that too, because I was ill prepared and I peeled over and I started crying and like throwing up. Let me know if y'all want to hear about that. All right, so yeah, that's what this was. Learn and grow for 2Fs. Love you, bye.